about it? We are back. The Hot Pass Podcast back on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Currently on YouTube, we've got the Bijan Robinson jersey. It just came back from Atlanta earlier this week. Had a great time visiting a bunch of friends, meeting some drivers, seeing some drivers that I've been good acquaintances with for a while. And we're going to catch up on everything that happened over the Atlanta weekend and then get into some really, really exciting getting back into normalcy of NASCAR, including, road courses. And then over the next few weeks, going back to the staple of some ovals. So very excited to be back. Very excited to get back on schedule. I'll be in Darlington in a few weeks. So there'll be a lack of YouTube uploading when I do go to those weeks, as well as the Tuesday episodes. It's a lot for me to fly home back on a Monday early morning and then get all my life to get back together. Laundry, groceries, getting work schedule out, and then doing a podcast, editing on YouTube, and then getting it uploaded. I wish I was a big YouTuber. I wish I could do this podcast where I could hire somebody to do the editing, but it's all of us. That's why I've been lacking on Instagram and Twitter for reacting to some merch that has came out. And we're going to have those things come out on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok or whatever throughout this weekend and over the next few weeks leading up to Darlington. My plan is this weekend to try and get some stuff pre-recorded that could come out over that time that I am in Darlington, the third weekend of August. And so there's a lot to do over the next few weeks before that trip. Let's touch on, go follow me at @FurlongEric __ on TikTok and Twitter. That's a lot of the places I mainly post a lot of my social media, as well as go to my Instagram. That's the one you're probably going to want to follow the most. It's the one I use all the time. That's Eric Furlong 21 on Instagram. Go follow me there. And that's probably the most important one. That and Twitter. And then go to Hot Pass Podcast on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe to the podcast. Let's get those views up. The likes, the comments, sharing helps out so much for the podcast. And and then go to the Action Network. Link is in the bio. Wherever you find me, you can see my early plays for the Cup Series super early on in the week when the lines drop over on the Action Network. Not a sponsor, but link is in my bio. It's free. And then on Twitter and Instagram, an hour before every single race for the truck race and O'Reilly series, we will post our full betting card. Obviously, you would have seen on my Instagram and such that I didn't post for Daytona and Atlanta because I didn't really bet on it. I took some crazy long shots, and now we're getting back into it, getting into the actual races that you can make a lot of money on. And I feel like these road course races especially kind of go how we usually can predict them. They try and make them a lot less chaotic. Definitely at COTA with going into turn one, they try and get a lot of your guys separated super early on. St. Pete's will be interesting when it comes to the Truck Series race to see how that goes down. We know it's a lot of chaos. I'm fairly certain that it's a street course race. I'll have to look it up on Bob Pockers, but I thought I saw the IndyCar guys doing a track walk. The crew members and everything earlier on today at the time of recording this, so on Thursday. Part of it looks like a street course. So I think there's going to be a lot to say about this truck race. But let's dive into everything that happened in Atlanta. If you guys want to skip on, this will probably take about 20 minutes or so. You guys can skip along ahead. You can go to the bets if you'd like, but this is a really good time to be listening. A lot of stuff happened in Atlanta. I got to see the hood. I got to talk to Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed, this weekend's winner, a couple hours before the race. Hung out with them for about 20 minutes to half an hour, just shooting the shit, catching up. So maybe you guys are going to want to stick around and listen to this weekend recap. It was a lot of fun. I also got to talk about Canada losing in the gold medal game, possibly too. Just sucking back some beer and some water here. I don't want to get dehydrated on the podcast. All right. Atlanta weekend recap. What kind of went down? So the Thursday I had the travel day. I got to meet my niece Nora, little baby Nora. 9 pounds 10 ounces. Met her on Thursday before I drove down to Detroit. Bawled my freaking eyes out, dude. If you guys don't have a niece or a kids, like I don't have any kids. This is my first niece or nephew. Out of all my siblings, this is the first kid, and I've never felt love like that. Held her for a straight hour when I even came back on Monday from my trip and just cried and cried and cried. I'm not going to lie. I'm an emotional ass creature. All right. And I thought it was the most beautiful thing in the world was holding that child. And I'll be over there all the time, watching a lot of NASCAR races with little baby Nora. I love that name, Nora. Like a lot of kids out here name some stupid things. There's just a lot of Sarahs out there, a lot of Taylors out there, and like Nora just feels like a good, solid name. And it seems to me that everybody loves that name. So really excited to have her in my life. So happy for my brother and my sister-in-law and our entire family for being blessed with this child. Very quick pregnancy. Birth, an hour and a half, very fast. First kid, crazy to me. 9 pounds, 10 ounces, like 10 days past due. And Nora just popped out basically at this point. It was beautiful. I love that little girl. And so then I drove down to Detroit. I'm freaking burping down here too. God, this beer, just 2 sips of beer and you boys gassy. This ain't good, brother. This is not a good start. Flew down to Detroit Thursday afternoon and landed, and my buddy Clinton's like, all right, there's a lot of traffic. He lives about an hour north of Atlanta, and he's like, there's a lot of shit going on with traffic and everything. Why don't I know you wanted to go to the Atlanta Falcons team store. Why don't we head down there into downtown, and then I'll show you around, and then I'll take you to a chicken and fish spot in the hood if you want to go. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Show me around. So we go downtown. I buy my Bijan Robinson jersey. I guess the Falcons are switching their jerseys this coming year. And so they had a huge discount. I wasn't getting the shit stitched on. It was like $130 US. And I'm like, that's like almost a $200 jersey. I'm not fucking doing that. All right. So they had Atlanta Falcons jerseys on for like, they were already on sale. Then they added another 40% off. So I got this jersey, this Bijan Robinson jersey for like $70 or $80. Feel like that's a damn good deal for really like football jerseys are pretty bland. Like they're just polyester and with some steam press shit on it, and they're charging $80 US. I think is still crazy. But that's the time we live in. It's a bunch of nonsense. And then so. I feel like I got a good steal on that. And then basically he drove me around, and then he's like, we're going to the hood. And I didn't realize, I've never been to a Falcons game in my life. And I didn't realize that the black colleges are on the other side of Mercedes-Benz Stadium, on the back side of it. And then just past that, it becomes the hood. Now, Clinton used to work, I think he still works in law enforcement, but he used to work in a gang task force. So he kind of knows those areas really, really well. I think there's like a lot of well-known strip clubs in Atlanta. And I think his office was like literally down the street from, what the fuck is that? Big strip clubs, Atlanta. This is that's in my search bar now. Magic City, baby. If y'all been to Atlanta, y'all know about Magic City and the damn chicken wings. And his 3.8 stars out of 5. I feel like that's pretty solid for a strip club, right? Yeah, I feel like that's pretty good. I have no idea. I've never looked up Google reviews. God, you know what we should do? Let's go through a couple of reviews and then we'll continue on with the story. How about that, huh? Top tier. Dancers beautiful, food great, and customer service always A1. Wow, look at that. Best night I've had in a long time. Club was a blast. Girls were beautiful. And security was on point. One of the guards working the floor was friendly and patient. Wow. Dude, I've never... All right. Very beautiful girls. $60 to get in, to get water down, drinks. I spent about $150 plus in drinks for my crew, 4 altogether. That's about 3 drinks each, and none of us what. Ooh, let me dive deeper into this, brother. Now we're going into it. Then the ATM for each $100. It's about, oh my God, it's about $14. This club is really for ballers or people that just want to come and look. Nice place. Just make sure you drink before you get there. Brother, if you're going to a strip club and you're worried about the price of drinks, move on, son. You ever seen some titties and some ass shaking in your face? And it was going to be cheap? You thought it was going to be cheap? Get the hell out of here. Tyshawn, we're not going to say his last name, okay? 28 likes, 28 miserable guys. If you're going to Magic City, hey, man, just bring $1,000. Don't worry about it, okay? And supposedly the wings are fucking fantastic. That's what Clinton was telling me. I was like, brother, we should go. Well, it was about 6 p.m. I'm not going into a strip club at 6 p.m. All right. We know what is living in there at 6 p.m. All right. The creeps. And as far as I know, the Atlanta City Jail is like right across the street. Wild place. Let me take another sip. So yeah, that was after driving through the hood. So go to the other side of, let's get back on point here, huh? Let's get Magic City off of my, we'll look more into that next time I go to Atlanta. Let's get that off of my browser history. How about that? And you could do your own research on your own. You nasties. And we go to the other side of the black colleges, and very historic black colleges. I think Clinton was saying like the oldest women, all women's black college is on the other side of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I don't know exactly the area, but if you just Google it, I'm sure it'll pop up. So a lot of very historic, all boys black college as well. And then you go into the hood, and it's, in Canada, in Toronto, people always, the notorious area is Jane and Finch. Ooh, Jane and Finch. Brother, you can drive down there and everybody here is like, oh my God, you hear what happened at Jane and Finch? Did you hear about Jane and Finch? Yo, somebody died. And you're like, dude, it's Canada. You could walk out front in the winter, slip on ice, and you die. I'm not scared of some like, yo fam, you want to get busted, youth? Like, I'm not afraid of a guy talking like that, all right? Nobody in Canada is, and you can literally walk down Jane and Finch, and if you touch me, snowball to your eyes. If you touch me, Mennonite maple syrup is going to be under your feet so fast when you try and pull out that gun, you're going to slip, die, and now that gun is in your face. That's the way I roll. That's how I roll. In Canada, there is no threat of your life being murdered. Okay? And I always have laughed when I see documentaries, if you want to call them, on YouTube about the minutes at Jane and Finch fam, or in Scarborough, in Toronto, in the GTA. And I always laughed and said, if you went to Atlanta, if you went into the hood of Detroit or Baltimore, or Kansas City, Chicago, the list goes on, those fucking losers would get shot in the face within the first 10 minutes. Okay? Because they act like idiots. They're really just immature dumbasses, right? So we drive into the hood. You see the 12 o'clock boys, all the young guys or whatever on their dirt bikes, popping wheelies. I'm like, oh, we're in it now. Guys are repping the block. Legit Clinton's like, they all got weed. They all got unregistered, legal firearms. They're probably all felons. And I'm sitting there just like watching. And I post on my Instagram like, oh, look at the hood. It's so Atlanta is so diverse. And it made me giggle a little bit. Now, it is really sad to see, when I hear about people saying America is the greatest country in the world, and you see those places, and I go, we don't have shit like that in Canada. Not even remotely close. I got dinglings out. I'm so happy. By the way, just want to let you know, I am having to move out of my place, and I'm literally going to the building right next door April 30th. So this setup is probably going to look a little different coming May 1st. But thank God, because the new building, I'm moving into the building I just finished working on a few months ago, just before Christmas or just after Christmas. And I don't have to deal with dinglings that just moved in on my other side that are always yelling and screaming at all times of the day out on their balconies or out on this balcony that connects to mine. And I'm so happy about it. It's happened in the last few weeks. They must have just moved in and they're always drinking and partying, and it's getting annoying. I'm turning into a Karen. I'm almost 30 years old and I'm turning into a bitchy Karen. But you know what? To be honest, I've always been this way. You fucking be loud, dog. It is the time of recording this 20 after 10 p.m. on a Thursday. They'll do this shit on a Monday. Get the fuck out of my life, dog. So hopefully I'll be in a building where like there's literally nobody living in this building, and I want to go on the backside and of it, and there's nobody that can see me, and I can record stuff out on my balcony. Nobody's going to see me. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be even almost better than this. Like, I can hear them right now. I hope that you guys can't hear them on through the microphone. Yeah, they're yelling and screaming out on the fucking balcony. I love this about this place. If this podcast record, you might see it on Instagram. Me ranting about how I had to go fucking call security on them again because they were so loud the one time, like last week. Then they were like, brother, we weren't out on the balcony, and you're like, we were just being loud on the balcony. Well, that's still being loud, dog, but whatever. Anywho, really bad game. So it is sad to see that like we don't have anything like that in Canada, and then to see the greatest country in the world, I kind of laugh a little, but you know what? To each their own. They teach you to say that in America, I feel like. So anywho, I love you guys down there in America. It's no hate on you. It's just I get an outside perspective from being from another country, and I come to see you guys all the time. And it's not a knock on you guys. I think you're beautiful people. Everybody listens to this podcast. I've met so many beautiful people in the States. It's never about that. But we're driving through the hood, and then we go to the chicken and fish spot. Now, there was a gangster-ass Asian woman running this shit. Straight up G. And I went, look at this woman. She's got it. She's beautiful. I went, she doesn't fuck around. And then we're standing out front of the chicken and fish spot to be exactly 100%. And all of a sudden there's this guy, skinny black guy with some like skinny jeans on. And he's got his big bag of like chicken and fish in his hand. And then the other hand, he's like gripping his crotch. And I didn't see that. And Clinton's like, did you see that? And I went, what? And he's just like, that motherfucker had a piece the size of his dick at his dick, and he was holding on to it. And I went, what? And he's like, man, you got to move different out here in the hood in Atlanta. You got to move different. You got to keep your head on a swivel. You got to see who's got a piece and who doesn't. You always have to have your head on a swivel. And luckily, Clinton had his piece on him the entire time. So I felt safe. But let me tell you, boy, when he went to the backside, pissing on the backside of that building, and it was just me standing out front, my boots were shaking. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't like repping the block, fucking saying, what's up? I wasn't saying shit. I was horrified. But if you mind your own business and you say your please and your thank yous, you get through it. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. I recommend at least people seeing it. But I asked Clinton, I said, hey, man, like, I just want to ask, like, if I was to just drive around here and, like, pull up here by myself, like, with my, like, rented car from the airport, how do you think that would go? And he goes, yeah, you'd be robbed 1,000%. So it is sad to see that there's parts of cities in America and kind of all over the world that are like this. And it gives you a different perspective on life. I got to say, I'm doing all right here in Canada. I'm doing all right. So, yeah, then Friday comes around. What do we do on Friday? What do we do? Georgia Tech baseball game is what we did. And as a Canadian, I don't understand sororities and frats. I don't understand it. I've tried to explain it to myself so many times and have people explain it to me. This old white guy and his wife were trying to explain how great fraternities are and those boys should be drinking. Get fucked up. Yeah, get fucked up. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, but like, why? Like, what? And he's like, that was my frat right there on the right field, on the exit of right, or over the wall at right field. You could see his old frat, he says. And he's like, this guy's like in his 60s. I'm like, you're bragging to a guy that's 30 years younger than you about how you went to that frat and guys should be getting hammered. I'm like, cool. Frats, I don't really will never understand. Sororities, it was so funny to see the difference between men and women. Like guys were out playing volleyball with their shirts off, trying to get chicks, drinking beers, blasting their music, and then you drive by the sorority, and it's such beautiful, like 25 degrees Celsius weather out there, so like mid 70s, high 70s, and like girls are in their t-shirts and they've got their laptop. They'll have a glass of wine. Where they're getting this wine from, they all look underage. I have no idea, but it is a sorority and a frat. But they're drinking their wine, but they're like also like have their laptops out, like still working on schoolwork. And I'm like, oh, the difference. Oh, the difference. Oh my God. The men in frats, as a Canadian watching a lot of American movies growing up, oh boy, I just picture what goes on in these buildings. Then that video from an Iowa frat came out a few days before I went down there, and I'm like, oh yeah, just turn me off from frats altogether, brother. That shit is so fucking stupid, dude. Then to know like some sororities and frats will only fuck each other, and then like it is so crazy to me, brother. And then even if you're a dumbass and you came out of that frat and didn't barely graduate, but like a guy that's 50 and owns like a hedge fund, and if he was from that frat, he'll mainly only hire guys from that frat. I go, what? What? I don't know. If you guys have an experience in a frat, message me, because I think it is one of the weirdest things ever, dude. So yeah, and then Saturday comes along, and it's time. Now, all morning it rained, and we got there at like 1 p.m., 12:30 p.m. to the track, because we're not staying in the rain. It was a bit of a swamp in the parking lot as well. But got there, had a couple drinks, and then Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer were doing a meet and greet, and I didn't have a pass this weekend to get into the infield. But Sam and Creed were doing their thing. I saw them. I saw my friend Kaylee from Clear 28 Agency, and then her and I chatted for a while they were doing their autograph session. And then because everything got delayed for an hour or two or whatever, Sam and Sheldon just like hung out for half an hour, and we just shot the shit, talking dumb shit. And then I wish the guys good luck. And it felt like one of them was going to get a win. Well, sure as shit, shout out to Sheldon Creed. That truck race, I got to say, and everybody's been saying it on all these podcasts, I've been to a lot of races. We've all been to a lot of races, usually, if you're listening to a NASCAR podcast, and definitely a niche one like this, like the Hot Pass podcast. I got to say, Atlanta is by far the best. I've been there 3 years in a row now, and every single race has been absolutely insane. The first race weekend I ever went to, truck race in Xfinity, was really boring. It was a choo-choo train. But I do think that weekend that I was there, the first cup race I saw there was the 3-wide finish, and we had no idea who won. I think that was it. That was 2 years ago, right? Then last year was even really, 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 really good. And then this year was just unreal. All the races. Like, it's just getting better and better. And the runs, man, just watching it live, the runs that guys get on that backstretch, definitely with the way the wind was pushing and everything as well, like they come out of nowhere so fast. And that's why, like, I was very impressed that Hocevar just pushed Kyle Busch to the win. And then when you go to the O'Reilly race, the runs that Creed was getting and Austin Hill and so on and so forth, like Raja battling for the lead, winning a stage in the second stage, had the crowd going crazy. It's just unbelievable. The sunsets between turns 1 and 2, late for the Xfinity race as well, O'Reilly race as well as the Cup race, and some of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen in my life happen at that track. And it's amazing. So let's kind of touch on one thing that was really pissing me off that whole race was watching Corey Day epically fail again and again. Now, he finished the race really well. Attrition, right? Attrition. But to literally just be wrecking people left, right, and center, I honestly think, man, and I've heard it from some late model drivers, they're really mad that he's even up there. Now, is it jealousy? A little bit, but at the same time, I do truly think that you need some more time in trucks. You're put, like, we're giving Cletus McFarlane a hard time. I mean, man, like a guy like that, maybe give him a bit more truck time, a full year of trucks, and then get up there. But I understand he's got the backing for fucking Hendrick Motorsports, and I get it. He's got a lot to learn, and we're being really harsh on him. But right now, it ain't no Connor Zilic. Everybody's hyped on. Well, honestly, I don't think anybody's hyped on Corey Day. I never see anybody talk about him the way they talked about Connor Zilic ever. At one point, the broadcast and the people in NASCAR try and sell us Corey Day, and I just, to this day, I don't see anything that impresses us. It's continuous wrecking other guys, and just not driving well whatsoever. And it's really frustrating to watch. Definitely if you're a fan of any driver, like if Corey Day's around your guy, you're starting to sweat. It's like you watching your driver drive around Carson Hocevar late in a Cup Series race if he's in contention. And I think he needs to just relax, man. Relax. It's like Justin Allgaier and Carson Kvapil thing, like fucking just taking cars out, snapping loose, like it's literally looking like Cletus McFarlane at Daytona at times, or Kyle Busch in the last 2-3 years, where it's like late in the race, he just lets go of the steering wheel and snaps loose. It's really hard to watch. We're getting to see it every single O'Reilly race this year, and probably a bit of some truck races. So we're in for the long haul on Corey Day. But I do have to say, I'm in the grand scheme of things, Raj is doing really well. Kvapil was having a great race. Ross Chastain, the savior. I don't think enough people are talking about how much of a savior Ross Chastain is. You guys can hate him all you want, but he did what we wanted him to do, because there's only a certain amount of Austin Hill fans out there, and Ross Chastain turned that motherfucker. And who got the win? Sheldon Creed. And I just got to say, happy for Sheldon. 137 races. I think that was his 138th race in the O'Reilly series. 4 years, 3 teams, and he gets it done. Maybe I give him the juju. Told him, texted my boy Breyer to message him when he was at the Chili Bowl, or tell Creed at the Chili Bowl to pop in some zinnies. And what does he do? He does that, and he wins a B main feature and gets him himself into the A main, and that's just what we do. And then we dab him up, we hug him, we get some photos, and we talk for a while, and then he goes and wins his first race. So I feel like at this time, when I go to Darlington, he owes me. What does he owe? Doesn't really owe me anything, let's be real, but I feel like I need some gratitude, some respect shown to me because of, just the raw talent I have in my dabbing abilities, the raw talent of this brain that just makes people feel loose inside the car, and really can just hang a good left, And when you put that all together, dubs come out of it. So I just want to say that doesn't work for this weekend at COTA. It only happens within a few hours before the race. So don't expect them necessarily to beat SVG and Connor Zilic. But when it comes to Darlington, I'll post that I dabbed them up, and that's the sign to go and bet on Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer at Darlington. Now, Sam Mayer doesn't really have the best history there, but Sheldon Creed, boy, ooh. Now, I got to say, it is 2 super speedway races. Those boys have been bad fast, and they got Hendrick-built cars. Road course this weekend, going to be really fast. We'll get into the bets. We're going to talk about them. All right. Darlington, Las Vegas, so on and so forth. Phoenix, they're going to be really fast. Like, Creed's been good at Phoenix as well. Like, he's kind of just good everywhere. And then now they have Hendrick-built cars. Boy, let me tell you, they're going to be fucking so fast. So keep an eye out for that. Very, very, very excited for the rest of the year for those two guys. Very happy for Sheldon Creed. Happy for my boy Breyer to get into victory lane with him. He's worked with him tirelessly on his social media as well as his YouTube channel. And I'm just so happy to see Breyer, such a good young kid in the media sphere of NASCAR. And, and Breyer's father passing away last year, he was going through a lot. Just to see him be happy and ecstatic and how much work all of them, not just like, I get they don't drive the car, but those media guys put in a hell of a lot of work. And to see the happiness it brought Breyer in victory lane, to get a photo with his boy, it brought me a lot of joy to see that. So congratulations to Breyer. Ultimately, congratulations to Sheldon Creed for getting that win. And, you got the monkey off the back. I feel like that does secure you for at least another year. But we got a lot of racing to get to. So then Sunday hung out with Ashley, her boyfriend Andy, Ashley's brother Cody, and his girlfriend. It was her first race. We had a blast. I hung out with my boy Clinton, his wife Ray. Amazing time. Lots of drinks. I got way too hammered on the drive home. My stomach was curling. I was spinning. I was dizzy. I had a flight at 6 a.m. the next morning. It was a rough plane ride. And Bubba, now there was these losers, old dudes right behind us that always called Bubba Bubbles. And that they're the Facebook keyboard warriors that are always believing all the AI nonsense that's on Facebook. You could just tell. And then there was this child, him and his brother, young. And they were sitting in front of us, and I said, look at these motherfuckers. One's got a Kyle Larson t-shirt, and a Bubba Wallace t-shirt. They could have been twins or like maybe separated by a year or two. And I said, oh my freaking God. Now, Ashley on her podcast said that maybe the world's healing. I said, I would be. If I was a Bubba Wallace fan or Kyle, I'd be beating the shit out of my brother. I was like, they got to be twins. They got to be twins. That's like a one driver. Like for my brother, he would like one thing, and then I would just like the total opposite thing, or another team that's like a rival, just to piss him off. So if they're twins, there's a possibility that that's the reason why they did that. But it's a twin thing. You guys wouldn't understand, okay? Twin telepathy. It's not necessarily real, but we've had some moments. All right, so maybe it is. Bubba did great. Tyler Reddick won again. And going into COTA, I'll just give my tidbit. I think he'll be top 10, but he has complained about their road course cars over the last year or so, and they've just missed it on setups and speed. And we didn't really see them the last year and a half. He'll be a contender inside the top 10 like he usually is, but they've kind of just missed it with the race winning speed. And obviously you got to bring it against SVG and Connor Zilic. But we'll talk about Connor Zilic possibly, but everybody's going to be chasing SVG this entire weekend. And I'm just happy for Tyler. It was nice to actually really cool to see MJ back-to-back weekends. I feel like you don't really see that very often, but maybe he just wants to be at the track after all the Daytona 500 stuff. Really upset for Bubba, obviously. Got the camo Bubba Wallace hat on, and I kind of blame that there's two to blame on that. I didn't listen to Door Bumper Clear, but Freddie Kraft must have said clear high, but there's a run coming. And then, like, because Bubba could see in his mirror what's kind of going on, but to see up above the run generating, I'm sure Freddie Kraft must have said something to get him to snap and just go up. I'm not going to touch on Carson Hocevar. I don't like the guy, but he's going for it. I really think he's a douche. Met him once, kind of brushed me off like I was a nobody. I've heard stories about him, and I don't really like him. And then hearing about his dad was one of the first people on I think it's A-Rod or Derek Jeter's foundation. So like obviously this douchebag kid just came from a fuck ton of money. And he's just driving like an ass. Now, I won't deny he's got a lot of speed. He's going to win a lot of races. And I won't be mad when he wins races. I just hope he doesn't become more of a douche canoe. So, until I have a good experience with him off the track, I'm not gonna really talk about him as much. Everybody's kind of said their piece. We all hated Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski at one point. We're all eventually going to like Carson Hocevar probably at some point. Whether it's 5, 10, 15 years down the road at some point, there will be a time you will like him at some point. Am I going to go buy merch? Am I going to go and hate on the Ride the Dente car that's all black, that's like an Intimidator car? No, I'm not that deep and emotionally deep on Carson Hocevar. I'm not going to get myself worked up. I get it worked up enough talking about it at the track with people. And it's just not worth my time. We're talking about the same thing all the damn time. It's talking about Carson Hocevar wrecking people, getting into people, losing their minds, him losing his minds behind the wheel. And it's just a reoccurring instance. Just let the guy drive. If he wins a race, congratulations. If he doesn't, the people that hate him are going to be happy. He's going to make enemies, but what can you do? It's just a part of racing, and I feel like we just kind of got to move on and just let it play out, see how it goes, and let's not lose sleep over it. How about that? That's basically the whole weekend. There's a lot of other details I might bring up in future podcasts, or you talk to me about it. I posted on my Instagram at Eric Furlong21. If you go to the little stories underneath my in my profile, you'll see everything I got up to over the weekend. But let's get into some bets. I'm getting really tired here. I got to start doing these earlier on Wednesday nights or like earlier Thursday nights. But everybody was talking to me at the fucking gym today. And then I stayed in the sauna for 30 minutes, which I usually only stay 15. And I'm just super tired today. So let's get into the bets. Going to break some things down. It's going to be very interesting for St. Pete's and so on. So I'm very excited to talk about some road course racing. I got to get a sip of water in me. God bless, brother. All right. God help me. God help me. I didn't even mention I got my Sheldon Creed hat on the table here. Feeling mighty fine with that Sheldon Creed hat now. I got to say, though, the yellow t-shirt that he has, I mentioned that on white guys, yellow does not look good. My brother was going to buy it, and I talked him out of it. I said, yellow does not look good. Believe me. I cannot stand seeing somebody wearing a yellow t-shirt. I think it looks so bad. So yeah, man, let's get into the trucks. So they're at St. Pete's. Same weekend as IndyCar. Very fun, very interesting. I think that's great, but very interesting how they're going to make this work. Truck race is on Saturday. Supposed to be a green flag at 12:22. There is a 60% chance of rain. Shocker. We're in Florida for the race. I wonder how this is going to go. If it's heavy rain, do they delay it? How late do they delay it? what's the schedule going to be like, because the O'Reilly race is going to be on at a green flag of 3:11. So going to be very interested to see how this all plays out. So Friday, they have their practice and qualifying at 4. So make sure you're listening to this podcast. Make sure you get your bets in before 4 p.m. Before practice and qualifying, obviously I kind of hold off. I don't bet my life savings on it before practice and qualifying, but I'll always give you the odds and the numbers that I think are really good before practice and qualifying, or who I'm kind of leaning towards. So you guys have a hint for even after practice and qualifying. But I really want to see how Saturday is going to work out. The scheduling might be a bit of a bitch. I don't think they're going to start this O'Reilly race later. If the truck race gets delayed, you can't have, like, the CW is not going to favor or cater towards Fox. They don't care. They have a prime time of at 3:11 p.m. Eastern, so I can't see them changing it. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. If it rains, obviously they'll have wet weather tires at St. Pete's, but I'm going to assume as well that they have non-competitive pit stops, where if you're new to this, non-competitive pit stops is where all the Cup Series crew, like pit crew guys or whatever, are at a different track somewhere else in the country. Like for Xfinity, when O'Reilly goes to Portland, they have non-competitive pit stops, or the Truck Series went to Ohio for a road course. Everybody parks it down pit road. You maintain your spot. Everybody gets a certain amount of time to change the lug nuts, all that stuff, and change their tires, get some fuel, and then they go back out, change their lug nuts. I guess they kind of do, but they go back out on the track, but you maintain your spot. So if you're thinking about taking a guy that, you're kind of worried, and a lot of the times in the Truck Series, I am worried about, I've lost a lot of money in pit and positions coming off of pit road to Caden Honeycutt over the last few years. But I loved him in positions where they were out somewhere else in the country, and he can maintain his spots on pit road as well as early days of lane rigs. Felt so much better about that. The only thing you have to worry about is the track and where guys are going to be, rather than can you maintain spots on pit road and can my pit crew get out there? You don't have to worry about that this weekend. So very important to remember. I'm sure they're doing that. So then O'Reilly race is at 3:11, and then Sunday is at 3:49 green flag, and no chance of rain. He like how he adds it's 80s and 1% of rain all weekend. So you love to see that. I'm not even going to talk about the Chris Gabehart stuff this week. I don't know enough about it to comment on it, and everybody else has talked about it. We won't talk about it. All right, entries for the truck race. We've got some guys that we've never heard of before. I don't think they're going to be competitive at all, and if they are, fuck me. But number one in the 1, Franchitti. 2, Far Touch. 4. The number 4 is Mayer. 5 is Andretti. 7 is Connor Mosley. That's a guy we're going to talk about. The 22 is Jackson Lee. The 25 is Braun. 45 is Lewis. Nice Motorsports is just dog shit, huh? Way to lose Caden Honeycutt and then fire his ass. And ever since then, you guys have been a joke. Number 76, Nicholson. And the 77 is Hinchcliffe. Yeah, man, I just got to say that I think it's going to be very interesting this weekend. Not necessarily a lot of good road course ringers on this. I think there's going to be some question marks on a lot of guys. We're obviously going to a new track. Nobody's been there before, and I think you kind of have to look up and pull up those guys that that are good at road courses. A sneaky good guy actually over the years is kind of just pops up at longer odds, but his odds are kind of short this weekend. Is Ben Rhodes. Ty Majeski races really well at road courses. I'll definitely be talking about Connor Mozak, Andres Perez. Delara is a very good pick as a long shot. It'll be interesting to see how Justin Haley in a Ram truck does. We'll talk about him. Just a lot of like really big names. There's just a lot of really big names that I just cannot touch because they're mainly not the best on road courses. They're mostly short track guys, mile and a half, so on and so forth. And it'll be interesting to see what they bring to a road course. Now, you just got to remember when you come to the truck series that you're betting on the truck series and it's probably going to be absolute friggin' nuts and chaos at times. And I hope that they move the restart line, depending on how the track layout is, that there's not an opportunity for a bunch of people to get bunched up. But I feel like on a street course, there's going to be a limited amount of space and it's going to get rough. So right now, currently for top 5 for the trucks, we'll start there as the top 5 is my long shot is Andres Perez. Now he's been bet down to plus 550 on most books or shorter. I got him super early on the week at plus 650, a small little sprinkle of a bet. Came up through the Mexico series, is mainly a road course guy. You don't really see him as a player ever on ovals. And I feel like this is just a play where you're trying to look at guys that have raced on styles of this track a lot before. And I feel like Andres Perez is a guy that, he could be racing outside of the top 10 on the back half of the top 10 as well. And just kind of putting himself in that situation where if there's a bunch of cautions, maybe he can save a lot of fuel, get up there. Or if he goes through a couple of, wrecks in the back half of the top 10, and can kind of just make it through and a lot of crazy chaos happens, he's going to be able to, I really do think, work his way through all the issues. So, Andres Perez at plus 650 at Bet365, I think is a great line. I don't know how he'll qualify. I'm not sure if this is going to get any shorter. It'll be interesting to see how he qualifies. But I just wanted to take a little sprinkle on it, get a little play on him if it does get too short. Connor Mozak has been dipped down to like plus 200 or shorter. I got him at plus 250 at Bet365 early on in the week. And what can I say about Connor Mozak? All right. Ovals and stuff, he'll have speed at times and be driving inside the top 5. Definitely inside the back half of the top 10, and then just gets into late race stuff. Loses spots on pit road, and then he gets caught up in a bunch of nonsense late in a race all the time. Now, Connor Mozak, I'm fairly certain he came up through like Trans Am and a bunch of other stuff, just like an Austin Green, a Brent Cruz. Those guys like very good on road courses. And I think Connor Mozak driving in the number 7 Spire truck that we've seen a lot of wins come from Kyle Busch. Obviously, it's Kyle Busch. But I do think that he's going to be really, really good. Can he stay out of the late race nonsense? He's not going to lose spots on pit road, which is very important. He shouldn't be back in a lot of that crazy stuff. And if it is a true street course, that I feel like he's got the most experience on road course and being able to adapt throughout the race and learn a track very, very fast, where a lot of these guys like Lane Riggs, Chandler Smith, definitely guys like Mini Tyrell, they're going to be a lot of those guys are still, to me, a bit of a question mark when it comes to road courses. When we saw Chandler Smith in the Xfinity Series, it never really did well on road courses. I never really touched him. Lane Riggs is still a big question mark. Has he been able to figure out road courses? We haven't seen him always doing the best on those tracks. Obviously, he hasn't won one. And I think it'd just be great to see a guy that you're getting over plus 200 on a guy that is really good at road courses. And we see it all the time. We had Austin Green finish second in the Xfinity Series last year at the Roval. You saw Brent Cruz in the Truck Series last year. Should have beat in the number 1 truck at the Roval. Should have beat Corey Heim if Tony Breitinger doesn't get a caution called out with 2 to go. So I feel like a lot of the cream rises to the top with these road courses and street courses. You see it with SVG and Connor Zilic, and I feel like you got to just bet on these guys. So plus 250 on Bet365. And then Gio Ruggiero. Now, people are going to use Watkins Glen as a precursor for this race. as an example for this race is what I'm looking for. And a lot of shit had to happen in that race for him to be able to get like second or third place. A lot of cautions late. You're probably going to get a lot of cautions in this too. It's going to be really fast. And at plus 150 on Bet365 for a top 5, I think is great. I think it's great value. I think he's going to be one of those guys that is good kind of everywhere. And I feel like might even surpass a Caden Honeycutt in that number 11 this year. He's getting more seat time in the O'Reilly series, driving for them. And I feel like he is that next thing, man. I think William Sawalich is probably going to lose that ride next year, and he'll pop up in there. Brent Cruz moves to a different car for Joe Gibbs, but I think Gio is one of those hot prospects that are going to be moving up into a Joe Gibbs car next year. And I think this is going to be his huge breakout season. We saw him win last year in the Truck Series, and I think this is really where he's going to ring off a few. And this might start off the year. And plus 150, I think, is going to be solid value for the farther we go down into the season. Definitely when you go to short tracks and stuff, which is his bread and butter. I feel like you're going to get minus money. And so I'm going to get in early on Gio. And I like him. I like him a lot. He shows a lot of skill. Was I talking about Gio should have won the race at the Roval? No, it was Brent Cruz that was going to do that. So that was totally wrong. If I did say it that way, I meant Brent Cruz was supposed to win it. But we'll talk about Brent Cruz when it comes to the O'Reilly series. But because Brent Cruz is driving full time, right? Just I feel like nobody's talking about that. Let me go to that. No, maybe it's not full time. Because it says Cruz in the 19, there's 40 entries, and usually there's add guys. So, yeah, he must not be driving full time. Because is that the car that Gio and him are going back and forth on? I think so. So, yeah, Gio, man, I think he's going to do great. And, top 5. Outright is going to be very interesting. I do like Connor Mozak at plus 1,500. I don't like him at the plus 900, the plus 1,000 numbers that are out there now. If he qualifies a little crappy, or like say Lane Riggs and Chandler Smith get up there, you get Gio up there. I feel like Connor Mozak kind of starts at the back half of the top 10. Maybe he misses a corner and he can't get a qualifying lap together. He starts outside the top 10. I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe his number drifts back out to a plus 1,500. Then I would take a Connor Mozak. I would take it very lightly. I think he just gets into too many late race shenanigans. But a little sprinkle at plus 1,500 if you can get that number after practice and qualifying, I think is great. Justin Haley, I had some of his numbers pulled up. He's done really well on certain road courses as well as the Indy Grand Prix in the O'Reilly Series. He's won at Bowmanville in the Truck Series here in Canada a few years ago now. He showed that he can do it in the O'Reilly Series and the Truck Series on road courses. He's got the most experience other than Daniel Hemrick, as far as I can remember off the top of my head, driving in the higher series. He's coming down. As long as that Ram truck can last, I think Justin Haley's going to do really well. I think he's going to be able to be really competitive. I hope those Ram trucks last. And at plus 1,400 on readily available sports books, I think it's a pretty good solid line for Justin Haley. I think he'll be able to figure it out. So Justin Haley, plus 1,400. I love it. And then Gio Ruggiero was plus 1,100 on a lot of books, on actually a few books at some point during the week, and that's when I ended up snagging him. Plus 900 I don't like, but if it gets above 10-1, maybe like 12-1, I would be snagging on Gio. I just think I'm really high on him. I just can't take super early on the season a Chandler Smith, Lane Riggs, a Ty Majeski, on a road course. I feel like there's guys that can be way more competitive, or at least be competing with them at some point. But we have seen Ty Majeski do really well on road courses as well in the past. It sucks because we don't really see them drive in road courses very often anymore. And I just wish we got to see it more so we really knew who's really good at those road courses, who could be that ringer, who's up front. But it's a bit of a guessing game who's going to win, and I kind of like the Mozak, the Haleys, and the Ruggieros of the world. And then let's go to O'Reilly Series. All right, let's have a sip. Let's have a sip here. So, top 5, Sammy Smith, plus 500, the score. Is that all right with you? Actually, we should go through who's all in this race, huh? So, some one-offs. Alex LeBay, I used to bet on him. He's in the 0. He's going to be dog poop. Connor Zilich in the 1 car. Sucks that Quapple doesn't have a full-time ride this year. I thought he signed a full-time ride this year for the 1. Is that not what we announced? And then all of a sudden, now he's driving the 91? So maybe I'm mistaken, but I honestly thought that he signed for the full year. So whatever. At least he can fight for the points, but getting wrecked out by Corey Day last weekend didn't really help him. The 5 is Tyler Gonzalez. The 9 is SVG. The 19 is Brett Cruz. 30 is Leguizamo. I don't know who that is. I don't even know if I said that right. 32 is Chastain. Going to be very, very interesting. My biggest concern is him on pit road with those Jordan Anderson guys. The 50 is Pardis, and 55 is Karam. And Karam, God rest his soul, man. He had his opportunity in Sam Hunt Racing Equipment and had every opportunity in the world at COTA, and Parker Kligerman wrecks him on the final lap, and we had him for a top 5 at a huge number, and Parker Kligerman is a dick. So that's where my Parker Kligerman hate came from. Kind of made me feel good when he ends up losing to Sam Mayer at the Roval almost 2 years ago. And it made me laugh inside, but then I was happy for him at Daytona. So we made amends. But yeah, I think 4 of those names on there could very well be your top 5. Chastain, Cruz, SVG, Zilich. Is that 4? Shouts out to me in my math. 4 of those 5. 4 of those could be in the top 5. That's what I'm saying. Good Lord, I'm tired. It'll be interesting to see how those guys play out. I do remember when. Do you guys all remember when Ross used to go drive back in that 91 or the 92, and it just showed how good he could be? I think, didn't he run like top 10 or top 5 at Watkins Glen like 2-3 years ago in that 91 or 92 car? Like, guy is good on road courses. But one guy, he kind of just shows up here and there. He's got some top 5s. He can ring off a top 10 on a road course. And I'm fairly certain he's done all right here at COTA at least once. I think it was a few years ago now. Is Mr. Sammy Smith at plus 500 for a top 5. I keep getting something in my goddamn eye, son. I swear he's gotten a top 5 or at least a top 10 here at COTA. The other 2 races were not the best. If the page would load. Hold up. Thank you for finally loading. Sometimes this website can be so crap. Racingreference.info. All right. Yeah, he's got 1 top 5. In 3 races, he's got 1 top 5. I get that. It sucks. He first time here in 2023, started second, finished 4th. That was in Joe Gibbs equipment. Then he went to Junior Motorsports. He finished 36th and 11th. So not the best after that, but he crashed in 2024 in his first time in a Junior Motorsports car, and then was 11th when he had a good, a half decent run going in a Junior Motorsports car. But other road courses, the Charlotte Roval, he finished top 5 once and top 10 twice, so he's done it there once. Elkhart Lake did not get a top 10. Indy Grand Prix as well did not get a top 10. I'm assuming that was in Joe Gibbs equipment from a few years ago. And then Portland, he got a top 5, 1 in 3 races. Sonoma, he's got 2 top 10s, and then he's top 10 or top 5 twice out of 4 races at Watkins Glen. So he's done it before. He can do it. And at plus 500, he might be able to do it. I honestly think he is going to be a top 10 car. I think Sammy Smith is a very talented driver. He's starting to clean up a lot of things. And he just needs to get older. He's very young. And he's just slowly gathering up his racecraft. Be interesting to see if he is going to be back after this year at Junior Motorsports, if he doesn't kind of really pick up a few wins throughout the year. I know he's got a lot of money, obviously, from Pilot / Flying J coming in on him, so I'm sure he's got a secured ride somewhere for a while. But it would be nice to see him start ringing off some stuff and kind of clear his name from the Martinsville nastiness. But Sammy Smith has kind of done it. He'll kind of just pop up out of nowhere and be like, oh, fuck, Sammy Smith, top 5 at a road course. Whoa. So he can do it. I truly do feel like he's going to be a top 10 car. He's done it once before here. He's done it multiple times in the Xfinity Series and stuff over the years. So plus 500, and it's a sprinkle little bet. Before practice and qualifying, he's qualified well here in a Joe Gibbs car. Why can't he just ring one together at the Xfinity or the O'Reilly Series at COTA? And I feel like having Connor Zilic in your corner in the past and being in the Chevrolet camp, him being in that race, Sammy Smith and these Chevy drivers need to be a sponge getting info from Connor Zilic as well as SVG. So Sammy Smith, soak it all in. All right. Then we're going to go to Sam Mayer. I heard on another podcast that, we used to talk about Sam Mayer as this road course god. And we're getting Sam Mayer at plus 225 on Bet365 for a top 5 in a Hendrick car. Hendrick built car and looking real good. He's going to have the jorts on, his fire suit this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. And I love me some Sam Mayer. I think, is he going to win? Probably not, because it's going to be the SVG and Connor Zilic show. But I still feel like he can get one of those last 3 spots inside the top 5. And Sam Mayer is going to be really, really good. If I were you, I'd take either Sam Mayer or Sheldon Creed. They're just kind of really good at road courses all the time. And they're kind of just always there. One guy you could mention is Austin Hill at this track. He's very good as well. But who wants to risk it on an asshole? All right. So Sam Mayer, I don't really need to say anything else other than he's really good at road courses. And if we keep getting this number throughout the year on road courses, I'll continuously bet Sam Mayer over and over and over again. And the last one is then Brent Cruz plus 200 on Bet365. I love that number. Brent Cruz on any road course after what we saw at the Charlotte Roval, coming out there in part-time ride at Tricon last year and should have beat Corey Heim. That caution doesn't come out. I love Brent Cruz. I love him on a road course. I think he's got a lot of talent, especially on road courses. And I feel like if he does what he did at the Roval here this weekend, you're not going to see plus 200 on another road course, definitely in a Joe Gibbs car. So they're going to bring a good car. They're going to have a fast one. They're going to have good pit crews. It's all going to come down to racecraft. And I think he's got it on a road course. So plus 200 is going to be a nasty number. And I think those are some 3 solid guys that one of those 3 will for sure hit. If you get 2 of the 3, we're making a hella bag. Outright top 3, I don't really have anything. I would like to honestly kind of take a Brent Cruz, but it's going to be tight because those top 2 cars of SVG and Zilic are going to be there, and then you're guessing one more spot. And it's going to be kind of hard to hit. So we're not going to talk about top 3s, but outrights, if you want to take somebody else and you think that Zilic and SVG are going to get into each other in 2 Junior Motorsports cars and wreck their day and not get a win for Junior Motorsports, do you want to go bet against that? You want to take SVG and Zilic or the field? I don't think you're betting outrights this weekend. If you want to take a sprinkle on like a Creed or a Sam Mayer or something like that, be my guest. I feel like that's not a bad bet. Oh, no, I think that is a bit of a bad bet is what I meant to say. But, yeah, they're crazy long shots this week. Anything can happen. If you want to put a couple bucks on Creed going back-to-back, what a vibe that would be. Sam Mayer, I think, is going to be able to battle, and Brent Cruz as well. If you want to go with Brent Cruz, man, that would be kind of sick. Kind of a fun little play. See how that works out. Maybe get on a different strategy than these guys. See if you can make something work out. If there's a lot of cautions and stuff, but I think the outright market's kind of dead on this one. And then let's get into the Cup Series. All right, I've got a lot of top 10 bets, and then I think these are usually the ones where I kind of wait out. But I think these guys are going to qualify really well, and then I'm going to kind of wait out on the rest. Do we have any major names? You got Jesse Love in the 33. It's the only open car. Yeah, man. Ty Gibbs at plus 200. I know you guys are going to say, why would you bet on Ty Gibbs? The guy's a dick. We're hearing stuff about Chris Gabehart hating the kid. His racecraft has been shit. That car has been dog shit. And I don't even know who's at the helm of this crap. And not really helping it out. His number came down. I wouldn't take it at the plus 175. He's been in contention here. He's done kind of shitty the last few races here, but we used to know him in the Xfinity series a few years ago as the road course guy, battling out with Sam Mayer and shit. Like it was fun. And then when he came up here, he just haven't really been able to put it together on a road course since it basically feels like his first full season year. It's kind of been crappy, but I'm going to take the plus 200 and hopefully he can start off the year really, really well. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Ty Gibbs is at, but that's obviously been bet down. I got that at Bet365. AJ Allmendinger has also been bet down. I got him at plus 150. It's AJ Allmendinger on a road course. Need to say more. The only thing that really scares me is how much info are they getting from Chevy? What kind of vehicle are they bringing to the track in a Chevy where they have Ram in the truck series? So that's the only thing that scares me about him. And then Tyler Reddick at minus 120, and I talked about it earlier on, is Tyler Reddick, and that team has not really hit that race-winning speed at a road course in a little while. And I think it's going to be hard for you to battle with SVG. I think he could be top 5, but this is a really nice safe bet of minus 120 where his average running position I think is like 5 point something here at COTA. He's won here before. Hasn't I don't think finished anything worse than 9th if I'm not mistaken, and he is so good here. And the fact that we were getting minus 120, I think you could still get minus 150 on Bet365 for Tyler Reddick for a top 10 was kind of fucking crazy. Is he due for a wreck? Maybe. But this is going to hit 9 times out of 10, I feel like. And I would bet this number every single time at Tyler Reddick on a road course. And hopefully we can hit this. So top 5, I like Alex Bowman at plus 450. I haven't really looked at where he's qualified on average at road courses. But it seems to me, we obviously know that year while Alex Bowman, Ross Chastain, AJ Allmendinger were getting into each other at the end. But Bowman, I've hit him top 5s or top 3s a few times at this track. I used to bet on Kyle Busch all the time, and he would do really well here. So COTA has been one of my best tracks, best road course tracks in the Cup Series ever because of Alex Bowman and Kyle Busch. So I kind of just go back to it. He's 5 races, he's top 5, and 5 races, he's hit 5 top 10s and 3 top 5s. And that's unreal. Last few years, 8th, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and last year he finished 9th. So a little bit of a fall off over the years of one position each year and then drops off to 9th. But like, you've already done it 3 out of the 5 times in a top 5 and you're giving us plus 450. Sure. Did he do fairly well? He does well at the strategy-wise and everything. At Chicago, he ends up winning the race. Kind of came down to light and all that stuff. But COTA's just figured it out, man. It is kind of crazy. And this is one of my favorite parts about telling people about NASCAR is some guys just really figure out a track. I mean, you see it in F1, but like usually it's like 2 or 3 drivers that can figure out, and like they're the only ones that have a fast enough car to be able to win the race. Or some guys, like one week this guy could run like 20th, and the next week this guy's running top 5 because he just figured it out and they've got a great setup for his car. And I think this is one for Alex Bowman. Kind of just proves that he can race. It's just what kind of car is he bringing to the track, and I feel like you can trust him. So top 5 at plus 450 on Bet3 or on the score, I feel like is a solid number. Now, the rest of this is I'm just going to kind of wait and see. I haven't bet the house on Reddick, AJ, Ty Gibbs, Bowman. Just a couple sprinkle plays, get them in there, and hopefully we can hit all those and make some nice coin. And then the super little sprinkle plays, because this very well could just be SVG's race. We've seen Christopher Bell be up there in battle and get on the right side of strategy. I think it's going to be a battle of who can win off pit road and not make mistakes, and then hope to God that you got a big enough gap on SVG after some sort of strategy call that you can be ahead of them. And Ty Gibbs at plus 3,500 is the tiniest little sprinkle play. I feel like is fun. We've seen him up there in the past. And then Christopher Bell has been really good here as well as William Byron. But I got Christopher Bell on Bet Rivers at plus 1,200. I feel like that's just a fun number. If you could have had that like 2-3 years ago before SVG with Christopher Bell at a road course, I feel like we would be betting on him and betting the house on him. And it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really fun. I think Ty Gibbs, if they can really figure out what the hell's going on with that car, and his attitude, I feel like he could have a lot of fun inside the top 10 and get a good strategy going and just be good on pit road, for the love of Christ. And don't get a speeding penalty or anything, and just mind your P's and Q's, you could have a good run. And then if something late happens, people go into turn one and get wrecked, I feel like Ty Gibbs could be there. And then Christopher Bell, he's just going to be there all day probably. So I like those bets. So that's it, guys. Keep an eye out on Twitter and TikTok at @FurlongEric __ to see all the social media posts that are going to be happening. The betting cards on my Instagram as well at Eric Furlong 21 on my Instagram story, as well as my Twitter feed an hour before the Truck and O'Reilly Series races. And then go to the Hot Pass Podcast, like, share, subscribe to the podcast, wherever you find the podcast, share it, audio podcast, Spotify, Apple, leave a 5-star rating. It really helps out the podcast so much. I would love that if you guys could appreciate you, I appreciate you if you do that. If you don't, I understand, but it really helps grow the podcast and get better quality, better audio, better visuals, and hope to continue to grow the podcast and gets me to more races. So, and then go to the Action Network. Link is in the bio. I've already got all my top 10 picks out on there. I'm going to drop some more of these picks over the weekend out on my Action Network. So link in the bio wherever you find me to go to that and hit follow. And then, is that it? I'm drawing a blank. I think that's it. I'm tired. It's 11:15 p.m. on Thursday. I'm tired as hell. I've been up super long. I'm going to edit this, get this up for you guys. And and then we'll have an episode on Tuesday on YouTube, audio, visual, everything. All right. Just keep an eye out mainly, I think, for the truck race though. See how that plays out with rain. Scares me a little bit. Listen to what they're saying about what they're going to do for a schedule for that. If they're going to bring out the rain tires, wet tires, I'm avoiding that race like the plague. They can race in the rain and wreck all they want. I'm not wasting my money on it. So if they do race in the rain, I'm probably going to hold off on that race and just avoid all the stress and complaints and save it for the O'Reilly Series and the Cup Series. So we'll talk to you guys over the weekend on my social media platforms. And until then, until Tuesday as well, podcast will be out. I'll talk to you guys then. Peace.